Hey guys, so just want to start off by reminding everybody that if you can like my posts or subscribe or even comment or anything, so I kind of know what you think, because it's hard to put yourself out there and not have any sort of response. Anyway, so I was listening to the radio on the way home, and I listened to Slacker and Steve. It's 106 or 105.9 here in Denver. And they do a thing called OPP, and I believe that's what this one was. And somebody called in, and her and her partner have been a little bit distant lately, and then one day, all of a sudden, some women's clothes turns up in her closet that doesn't belong to her. So she confronts her husband, and it turns out that he's actually transgender. I tried to call in and talk to him, but unfortunately they ran out of time, so I posted a few comments online. But I really wanted to talk about that, because there was a big concern because they have a 7-year-old daughter and whatnot. A lot of people's comments online were, well, why didn't he tell her this when they got married? I think they've been married for like 11 years. If she is anything like me, I didn't know till about 2 years ago. I knew, but I didn't know. I've been lying to myself for my entire life. I ignored those thoughts and I pushed past them. But it finally got to a point once, my ex helped me come to the realization of why everything was so wrong in my life, that once you cross that point, there really is no turning back. Some people are more than happy with just knowing and maybe, doing a few things just to kind of embrace that. And other people, if they can find a middle ground, which is what I shot for at first, where they embrace it, and in their own private life maybe they might dress up and go out or whatever and do some basic hormone therapy without going overboard. Kind of figured out the hard way that I'm not one of those girls. I have to go all the way. I have to. It's not an if, it's not a blah blah blah. It's life or death for me. There's something that could kill me. And unfortunately I lost a partner in the process, like I've told you guys before. But I'm a happier person, and I'm more involved with my kids' lives after the fact than I was before. I feel horrible to say that, and I've told them flat out that they can always call me daddy, and I don't care what I look like, and the looks people give me, I will always proudly respond to it. That is a special bond that I cannot take away from my children. And that was a big concern some people had is, well, what the hell is your child going to call them? Whatever the hell your child wants to. My kid's mom and I have gotten together, and we feel that the kids should be given an opportunity to decide if they want to call me something different or if I remain daddy for the rest of their lives. That's their choice. It's not something I can force on them. And I will not allow them to call me the same thing they call their mother. This doesn't work. That's their mother. If they call her mom or mommy, then that is not a name I will respond to. My kids do it accidentally already, but it is what it is. And a few other concerns I saw pop up were, or a personal concern I had was, she's not talking to her family and her friends about this. If you hide it and only talk to strangers about it, It's not going to get better. You know, it may not get worse, but it's not going to get better. You need to embrace it. I have not been happy up until the point where I embraced it and I told everybody. I mean, hell, I'm telling you, I'm telling the world right now on YouTube. I am not going to hide. I am what I am. I am who I am. And that's as far as it needs to go. You know, you find out really quickly that the people who can't handle that weren't worth being your friend anyway. You know, and somebody brought up on the Facebook post, you know, are you attracted to women? If not, it ain't gonna work. And that's damn straight. If your spouse is not attracted to women and is a diehard, I'm only attracted to men because, you know, they're, you know, men smell different, men act different, men, everything different. If you can't have an attraction to the other half of that, you're not going to have a relationship. That's what destroyed mine. Me, you know, that and the fact that I can't do anything right, but that's another story for another time. The fact that immediately, as soon as I started showing any outward feminism, it made it to the point where she couldn't be turned on by me because of it. It just did not turn her on. It was not something she could deal with. And I don't fault her for that. She fell in love with a guy. She fell in love with a relatively masculine guy. I never call myself super masculine, but, you know, I smelled completely different. I looked a lot different, behaved a lot differently, I spoke a lot differently. You know, I don't blame her. You know, and start both of you, the transgender partner and the non-transgender partner. Start grieving for that person who was and get it out of the way. That person's dead. Whether your partner does not transition or anything else, there's too many new things in that relationship to assume that that person's still there. You have entered a new relationship with somebody completely different. And chances are that person, if you embrace and love them the same as you embraced and loved them before, is going to be a much happier and loving person in return, because they're not hiding, and they're not feeling shamed, they're not afraid that someday you might find out and reject them. You know, I imagine that the relationships that do survive are the relationships where the partner has the strength to continue to love the person that they fell in love with, but is able to let go of that person and learn to love the real person who was always buried beneath. You know, I've always been Rebecca. I've been Rebecca since the day I was born. It was up until when I turned 35, 33, 34-ish, until I finally admitted it to myself that I was Rebecca, let alone be able to tell anybody else in this world. So it's, you know, it's unfair for somebody to say that you've been lying to them your whole time you've been together. From my experience, they've been lying to themselves, not you. Don't get upset with somebody for what society has forced on them to believe that they were disgusting, wrong, freak. I mean, you listen to some of the people out there. I'm only transgender when I use the women's bathroom so I can be a pedophile or I can be a pervert. No, I want to use the women's bathroom so I don't feel like an absolute freaking nature walking into the men's bathroom. The glares I get now, and I mean, I went to school like this. I get looks from the guys. I'm making them very uncomfortable. Nowhere near as uncomfortable as I am, but very uncomfortable. So, you know, Don't think we're doing it for some nefarious purpose. Don't think we hid it from you for some crazy reason. Don't think that we aren't petrified that you're going to hate us and never want to speak to us again. We're afraid. We're afraid of everybody and everything in this world until you prove otherwise to us. I managed to discover that I had some amazing friends that I had never spoken to other than maybe going to high school with. I mean, there's so many people on my Facebook account that I may have just said happy birthday to, and that's it. But they've, in the past year, become my greatest allies and friends and people I would go to the end of the world for. Tell people the truth once you know the truth, and you'd be amazed by the love you receive. I wouldn't give anything to go back there. I'm 10 times happier than I was. I'm 10 times more accepted than I was. Yeah, life is still awkward. Life is still strange, but life was still awkward then too. I'm nowhere near as comfortable walking into a room or into the bathroom as I used to be. But I'm more comfortable because I'm not concerned with not being seen as weird or different or strange. I'm just a woman, like any other woman watching this video. A trans man is just a guy, just like every other guy that could potentially be watching this video, as I have a feeling it's not really my demographic. As far as the kids, I have a daughter in that age range. And like I said before, she is so super happy to be able to experience all these new things with me that she gets to experience soon herself. That, I've actually bonded better with my daughter. Like I've said, I have issues with my son right now, but he has his own fair share of issues too. So I think I only exasperate some of them. And I've been a little self-centered lately, so there's a good chance of I just haven't been spending enough time and showing him enough love. I'm trying to fix that. I really am. I don't know what else to say. I'm sure I'll think of a billion other things after I get off this, and I'll probably make another video to get those out too. Love each other, talk to people, and don't be afraid. If it's meant to be, it will be. If it's not, try to be friends. You need each other, and those children need both of you. Do not alienate each other over this matter. Learn to work together. Go to the local gender identity center. Go to the not the LGBT, whatever the center is here in Denver or wherever you live. There's centers that are just about identity. There's centers that are just about the entire spectrum of not being in those two little boxes of heterosexual male or female. Which, if you still believe that those are the only two boxes, you're lying to yourself. Dang. I've met so many people that don't fit in that box that weren't any different than a normal person you see down the road. You don't have to be gay not to fit in the heterosexual box. You don't have to be bisexual either. If you haven't yet realized that gender and sexuality and all that are this giant thing, I'm sorry for you. I really am. Because you live in your world with blinders on. There's too many variables in this world to even consider that there's a black and a white option, and that's it. I mean, look at past history, look at everything else. Honestly, I mean, if you're religious, why would God make so many of us who are broken if it wasn't by design in the first place? You know, if you can explain away disease, cancer, and everything else as God's will, I'm a girl because God wants me to be a girl. I ain't religious, so I ain't going anything past that. I was born this way. Whether or not I admitted it to myself immediately, I knew. I knew from the first moment that I have a conscious thought that I can remember, I'm a girl. And then I hid it, and I suppressed it, and I pushed it away. Don't make your children go through that. Pay attention. Love them. Watch them. Be with them. Same with anybody you love. Chances are they think they're a freak. They think they're different. They're ashamed of themselves. Don't add to it. Embrace them. Let them know they're not alone. That's why I do this. You are not alone. I'm here, and everybody else is here. And there are so many people who will love you and respect you and accept you for exactly who you are, that if anybody doesn't, they are not your friend. And frankly, they're not your family either, if they cannot accept you for who you are. Get rid of them. Give them a chance to come to terms on their own. They might surprise you too and come back to you and go, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be that way. And you can work on healing. Okay, enough of my rant. I'm having a lovely day. And it was made better by knowing that there's somebody else in this world that's going through what I did. And hoping to God that the comments I've left on Facebook and the fact that I'm probably going to link this to that page too, help them. Maybe I and my struggle and my pain and the things I've suffered through, the suicide, all of that, will help them be a happy family for the rest of their lives. I want nothing more for everybody but your happiness. So go out there, love somebody, love yourself, be good. Like a good friend of mine always said, be good. If you can't, name him after me. Rebecca's a beautiful name. I love you all. Have a great evening.